Alrighty, and we are live. Welcome to the BrainDrive weekly dev call update. We do these calls every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern time, where we update on our progress from the last week and discuss what we're going to be talking about, what we're going to be working on rather in the coming week. Our mission here at BrainDrive is to build a superior user-owned alternative to big tech AI systems. I'm Dave Waring, and I handle the operations side here at BrainDrive.
And I'm Dave Jones, and I handle the tech side of the operations here.
So we're going to start something new this week, which is we're going to jump in with just a quick overview of what BrainDrive is, because we know that there's new people that join the calls and may not be caught up on everything. So BrainDrive is an MIT licensed alternative to ChatGPT that you own and control. So right out of the box, we have a chat interface, which comes as a default plugin. This is a modular-based system that Dave's built for us. And everything that you see here has been built on the same front and back end and modular-based architecture that Dave built these default plugins. So this chat interface is a plugin. We have plugins for Olama to serve local models. We have a default plugin for OpenRouter to serve API-based models. And so you can see here in the plugin manager, we've got one-click install from any GitHub, and all of this is MIT licensed. The front end is React, right, Dave? And the
Yep,
back end is built on Fast API.
yep.
And so, in addition to users using the AI system, we also have developer resources at docs.braindrive.ai. For any developers that want to get involved, you can learn about the system. We have a developer quick start here. And then finally, and I'll let Dave jump in here to add anything that he wants, we have our community over at community.braindrive.ai. And again, we're hoping to work with the community to build a superior alternative to big tech AI systems that you own and control. Anything you want to add there, Dave?
Nope, that is perfect 3 minute spiel on what is BrainDrive.
Hopefully not a full 3 minutes. I felt like I was talking for like 30 seconds, but that's how it works when you're the one talking, right? All
I
right.
know it all too well because I get so excited. I'm like, "Da, da, da, da," and then afterwards I'll see the video and I'm like, oh, I could have slowed down there. I sound like I was on crack and coffee at the same time.
Yep. And then we have a five-phase roadmap that we are operating off of, which is here on docs.braindrive.ai. So phase zero, selecting our MIT license. Phase one, the foundation, which is uh, putting the ownership and control over the four primary components of an AI system: the interface, the intelligence, the memory, the hosting, and the connections. And phase two, which we're in now, is our working towards our V1 release, which is polishing all that up. Then we move to our build phase, making it really easy to build on top of BrainDrive. Then we move to our entrepreneur release, our monetization phase, making it easy to monetize your BrainDrive without the big tech lock-in. And then finally, shifting all of the innovation and everything out to the community and making sure that this economy and open ecosystem is built and controlled by the community and not any one centralized entity. So with that, I'll let Dave take it away with starting us out with the progress that he made on the tech side last week.
Okay, we had a lot to do. Well, not to do, but just a lot that got done as we're
Mhm.
moving along. I will share my screen. This is the main dashboard of BrainDrive. We ourselves are actually planning for when you become a new user and you install for the first time, you'll go right straight to the chat. But for all the changes that were done, I would start here for me. Let's see. We have one of the things was getting to BrainDrive itself to the documentation behind the scenes that you can readily and easily get to. So the dashboard, we decided to have a few links, and we're going to put links throughout wherever it's meaningful. We just haven't got that far. This was just mainly Dave said, hey, we need links on the dashboard. And I was like, okay, let me go ahead and run with this. No doubt there'll be a few changes here as we move along, but this with any living project, users, Dave sees something after I do it, and they'll be like, that's good, but let's go for better. And they'll be like, let's move the order. You'll see it happen.
And one of these things with BrainDrive, of course, is it can run both offline and
Yep,
online. And these resources are online, right? So you will have
yep,
to be connected to the internet if you want to access these. However, you don't have to do it from the same computer that your BrainDrive's on. If you want to just take the links and go to another computer that you
yep.
don't want to have connected to the internet and you want, complete privacy on the computer that you're running your BrainDrive on, that's all good too, right, Dave?
Yes, and we have a few things coming in the future to help with the if you're totally offline. The first word will be a plugin that allows you to have pages to read PDFs, and so that we can have our complete documentation on a page itself. And you can easily use all the PDF features and functionality to search and to read at your request or your desire. We have BrainDrive Concierge, which is a model that we have looked at fine tuning with our documentation so that you can just have a conversation with it. And then we have a few things that we're going to talk about especially as we move along today to show you how we plan on using other functionalities to provide help and an assistance along the way.
Great.
Um, so this covers the dashboard. So now we will move to a really quick small fix. Oh, I have no tasks here. That's my fault. But just very simply put, the tasks when you have something is running in the background, it would have a date on it, and the date was incorrect because it was using a UTC uh, time zone versus whatever time zone you're in. So that was a really quick fix that I did there. Moving right along, because like I said, we have a few things to address. Uh, since we are actually going to get out into the public now this week, it looks like one of the things, if you have an issue, how to provide the appropriate information for us to work with. And that's very simply put, you go to your profile, you hit the open system info, and this tells you everything you have on your system, and you can just download it as a JSON, um, and you have the information and you can put it into an issue in GitHub, and that way you don't have to worry about trying to cut and paste, what plugins do I have to install, going through the plugin manager, none of that. This handles all of it. It'll tell
And
us
this
what.
also I love, Dave, because this is also like what some of the disadvantages of not operating a SaaS system are we don't have access to your
Yep.
system. So if you have an issue, it's not like a SaaS company because you're in complete ownership and control over your system. And this is like it's the best of both worlds because it gives you the freedom to decide when and if you want to share this information with the community to help resolve your problem or whether you just rather keep everything completely private.
Yeah, that's why it's like I wanted all of it exposed, what you were going to be giving, providing for us for information. And there is nothing personal there. I've made sure no keys, no sensitive information, nothing about what you're chatting about. The only thing that I ever need to try to debug something is literally what type of OS you're on, what browser you're using, what version down to the commit on GitHub that you're using. So if I have to duplicate your environment, I can do that as close as humanly possible. And then, of course, know what plugins and what commit versions you're on with that as well. So if we have an issue down the road with one of the plugins and you're having that issue, you can just say, hey, on this plugin, this happened, and here's my information, and you're done, in and out quickly. And that was the goal right there. And like I said, especially as we get users, these little things become very important. Um, so moving along, did I do this last week or
I
this
think
week?
that update username and change password and all that is new too, right, Dave? Or no, has
No,
that
no,
been
nope,
there?
nope, nope. That has
That's
been
been
there.
there.
Yeah. This has been here. I did this a long time ago. It was just one of those things. We were doing so many things, it probably flew under the radar because it was like, in fact, going to the dashboard a little bit, it was like I was tired of seeing my email address there, which is by default, and so I
Right.
was like going through testing and going through the entire process this morning. I was like, okay, let's make sure I didn't mess anything up as I'm coding, especially it's like when I've touched so much code as I've done this last week or two.
Great.
So let's see. We are go to go. Let's drop my ammonia menu. I believe the only thing done on the Olama model now is it is tied to the task in the background system, and so that in addition to if you leave this screen and you're downloading a model and you come back to it, it will show you here as well. You're downloading a model, what the name of the model is, and your progress so far. And you can get that information both in the task which is on your profile right here, or from here, whichever way you want to get to it. But it's the same information. I just felt that if you're used to coming here, you need the information. And if you're just looking at what everything you have run in the background, of course, it should be active there.
Great. And we know a lot of people as we go out into the local AI community are not Olama fans.
Yep.
And this is also in addition to giving you the ability to run local models. It's also a great example plugin that's MIT licensed. So, one of the things that we're hoping the local AI community will take on in the early phases is building other model runners into
Yep.
this, whatever they want, whatever's popular, et cetera.
Yeah. And I know Olama, they have cloud models as well right now, so you could get to other places. But like me, I have Open Router here. I have my key. As you can tell, is hidden. I'm not going to unhide it. Just for anybody's concern, in the database, it is actually encrypted, so it's not even in the clear there. And you can come through here. You can test what models you have. I've tried to give all the important and pertinent information as necessary, like cost, the tokens, and you can test the availability if you have any questions regarding
And
that.
this is actually a community plugin. So if you don't want it on your
Yep.
brain drive, just don't download it
Yep.
because we know a lot of people just want to run locally, but we want to give you the freedom to have your cake and eat it too. If you want to run both local and API based models, that's now possible in BrainDrive.
Yeah, you can pretty much do any provider or inferencing service you want to use. You just take one of the examples that we've provided, and we have some that are even more bare bones than this. And you just change a few things, and you can be up and running rather quickly, just following the groundwork that's already been done.
Great.
So now going to personas, small little change here.
And what are
Uh,
personas?
Personas, if you're having a conversation with an AI, they allow you to a system prompt, the parameters you want to set. We'll bounce. I'll show you what I did really quick, and then we can talk about them a little more into there. If you simply click on the persona now, it'll go into the edit persona. This is my wrong one. Let's go skip back a little bit. Oh, I don't have any real ones here, so we'll use it. I thought I did a demo count to test everything this morning.
Yeah, if you're like me, you're constantly uninstalling and re-downloading and et cetera. So it's hard to keep everything there when you're doing fresh installs all the time.
Yeah, but very simply, it's you put the name of your persona that you want, and this will be the name that you see in the your pages. If the page has the option for it, this is a description. What you'll see in the persona uh, cards. If you go to the persona's actual main screen right there, this is the system prompt that will be sent to the LLM whenever it's used. And then here are the parameters that we're exposing at this time uh, to direct the AI on a more um, nitpicky level. And this allows you to, we're going to expand this in the future, but right now it's just very quick. And this is for us for testing. And I did a lot of behind the scenes on this week of ensuring that the persona is not only inserted into it, but also in a fashion so that I can expand these settings in the future because I know there's more than that. So if anybody says, "Oh, but what about X?" We can do X. We just haven't got there yet. Any questions,
Awesome.
Dave?
No, this looks great. Really exciting. And I love how everything just now, in the early days of this, we would jump around and there'd be little errors, all this type of stuff. And now, like, everything's super clean. So I'm sure as we put it out there for the public, we're going to discover more things.
Yep.
But, I'm noticing all that the same thing when I, am doing my documentation and screenshots. It's like I never run into an issue where I'm like, oh, I got to reach out to Dave on this. It's just the stuff that we have seems to be pretty polished at this point.
Yeah, we're really dialing in. Even like, the last week and 2 weeks, I picked groups of little small things that have been plaguing my mind. Basically, it's like, don't forget this, don't forget X, don't forget Y. And that's what I've been trying to nitpick these past 2 weeks of cleaning up a lot of the little details. And that'll take us right to where that thing has bothered me since I first created it. We'll come into installs. This used to be a very large screen, and this is where you come when you want to install a plugin. And we allow for right now GitHub. We allow for local files if you have a compressed zip. Let's say somebody handed it to you, you have a developer working for you, you don't want it exposed in a public GitHub. They can simply hand you a file, and it works just the same here. And this, when we get to having a marketplace and like that, this will all be expanded additionally in another direction. But one of the things I didn't like about this screen is it was basically a huge landing page from top to bottom. And now you can basically just come to the one page here. You can drop your link. You can drop the file here, um, press go, and right on that screen,
Oh, you
it'll
got
tell.
the security notice there now too.
Yes, yes.
Great.
Yeah, it'll tell you everything you need to know.
Is
I
that
tried.
when would you, is that on the link too? Or no?
It
It's
should
fine
be.
if it's not yet,
Oh,
but
no, no, it's not.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All
I
right,
no,
no
I've
worries.
there are a
This
few
is
things
still
I
great.
plan on moving over to this side, which would be the security notice. I didn't get
Yep.
quite get there.
This
Um,
looks awesome. I know exactly what you mean. In fact, I think I have mine. If you want to just stop sharing for a second, I'll
okay.
show what it used to look like.
Yep.
So now it's like you had to scroll way down just to
Yep.
get to the spot. And I'm as a marketer, like I love like make it as simple as possible.
Yep. All the
So
information
yeah,
on
oh,
one.
did I share that? Yeah,
Yes,
I
you did
shared it.
share. Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, great. Now all the information is just right there at the top if you want to start sharing
Yep.
again, Dave.
There we go. And share. Let's see. I don't think I did anything this week in Page Builder. All the work was basically last week.
And what is
And
Page Builder?
I was about to get into that. It, when you get a plugin, it has modules in it at the basic core of it. And that's what these are right here. A plugin can have multiple modules, and it's very simply, I can use this, create a page, and we'll do test page, and it'll give you a blank page. And let's say if I'm not going to mess with that one for right now, only because I'll save that for a bit. We'll use my handy little game here. Let's make it, there you go. And you can simply design a page however you want it to look like. And you can use multiple plugins if you have multiple plugins to set up that work on a single page. And if not, you can just put the one there. It'll take care of the rest for you. And you would just very simply save the page here. And if you wanted to publish it on your pages, you'd come here, quick easy publish button, and it would populate for you over here on this side. And then you're done.
Awesome. And yeah, I mean, this is a couple things in addition to the page builder and using plugins and the drag and drop and making it easy for non-developers to
Yep.
use pages and plugins. This also shows that it's not just chat, it's also basically whatever you want to build on BrainDrive. Dave set it up so you can build that.
Yeah, in fact, that's a pretty good idea, or not idea, but a thing to bring up is most people are used to OpenAI, Claude, Gemini, where you have a little prompt box and you get a bunch of text. But when you're dealing with AI, especially AI, any AIs, especially when you want more out of it, you can actually create a game or anything else you want to do. It's like you're still talking to an AI at the end of the day, and you can put guardrails on your communication with it. And basically, this is very simple. It gives the AI two things, and it says, give me the answer to those two things," and then it populates the screen, and it just uses AI for the whole thing. And I did this as an example of what can be done, because one of the things Dave keeps asking me is, what are the limits? And I don't know the limits yet. I haven't really met them all yet. But by making plugins, I find things that we can't do, and then I fix that so that we can do
Yeah.
more.
So we are focused on the chat experience right now,
Yep.
but Dave already built a plugin that is a game just to show that like this is just the beginning. But we're
Yep.
going to need, we're really focused on that ownership piece right now and polishing that. And then phase three is our build phase, and that's when we're really going to dial in the building. But if you're an early adopter of these types of things, we'd love it if you jump in,
Yep.
start trying to build stuff, let us know where the limits are, etc.
Yeah, developers. I kind of funny. Navaneeth, one of our contractors, he was testing how to do plugins, and first thing he developed was a rock paper scissors game. It's just, I think it's something developers do. They just make a little game. It's whatever's on, whether fancy is the moment to establish, I can do this. They pick it and they just go with it. So you might see Navaneeth one day is rock paper scissors. It's just a little fun game, and going along. So let's see, what else do we have here? I really can't show you, but we were originally all light theme. Dave loved it. Um, Everybody else, we're dark people, I guess. It's how we run. But we have brought Dave over to the dark side. So the default theme throughout the entire thing is dark now. And so that there will be no more little flashes of white, such as the login screen. and the authenticating cookie screen right now, which is up just a little longer than what I want. But before I get that fixed and cleaned up, I wanted to make sure that it was also following the theme protocols. So it just gave us an opportunity to clean some stuff up.
Great.
I think that gets us to the one last thing before we get to the fun stuff. Dave wanted, we had bad information. I put these up ages ago, probably if we started working on January 1st, January 5th, I put a page up here. And so the information was all bad. And Dave wanted it changed, which to say, so get people going. So when they come here, we do have a plan for this. This is going to be, for my mind, because you could have tons of pages, but you probably want a way to say, hey, these are my top 5 that I use all the time. And I think this is the perfect opportunity. So you don't have to scroll here if you have a bunch. You can
I love
instead
it.
just go right
And you can
here.
even have folders here and
Yep.
like organize everything. Yep.
Yeah. So it's just, we're not quite there yet because we haven't, I'm just happy we have 3 plugins right now. But yeah, so when I have more plugins to work with and playing around with it, I'll be able to really, nitpick how I want this page to come together to make it easy for users to just easily, it's like come to here and go, hey, I want to add something. Or it might be like say Google's page when you go to type in your search link or your search query, you have the little I don't even know what they call them, but they're icons of all the pages, all the sites that you visited recently. So we could probably do something similar here. Just try and let it track how many times you've been to a page, and it'll auto-populate for you. Type mechanics. But just hey, it's open for ideas. So hey, we have a community forum. You have something we could do better. You say hey, you can do X, Y, Z. That's what it's there for. So you can get involved and hey, you can be my new Dave. You can tell me what to do. For lack of better
Awesome.
words. Yep. Now we get to our main chat interface. This auto populates because I have Open Router and Llama, so I have all of them here. So if I just wanted to type in right now free, this would give me a list of all the free models currently on Open Router. For me, that's very handy because I don't always like to pay for when I'm testing. Call me, fancy on that one. But yeah, it just basically allows me to pick it. Your Open Route or your Olama models, just so you know, are also here, and that's where a new server is. And I don't think I have 2 on here. So yep, that's what it should be. Personas, we talked about that. And as you can see, they come in your drop-down box. And then if I had any checks going, but since this is a new account, I do not yet. What we introduced this week is a little bit of context augmentation. And before I get to demoing it, I do want to say that this is, I'll call it in its infancy. And I did it on infancy on purpose, is the pure fact that if I did too much coding, it would require a lot of changes in the background probably, and it was more than what I wanted to accomplish on that outing because my grand plan is I want to see hooks in the back end so that if a plugin developer said, I like the way you're doing it, but I want to do my own thing, it would allow them to easily do a plugin style. I'm going to replace what you did with what I did. And so that way, it's like if you code whatever you coded and then you wanted to share it with your community, they can download it, they can install it. There'll be a page where you can simply, hey, this is what I want to use for CAG and or whatever system it's implemented in, and it'll show you the list of plugins so you can work with it. Did you understand that at all, Dave? Because I know it was a lot of tech talk. We're going to expand
It
the
sounds
plugin
really
system.
exciting.
We're going to expand the plugin system to
I'm sorry,
handle
say it
backend.
again. The
We're going to,
leaf blowers, of course, just
okay.
cranked up.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we're going to expand the plugin system to the back end. And in the case of like the front ends for pages, the back end will have basic puzzle pieces that you'll be able to interchange however you
Right.
see
So
fit.
right now the plugins are React components that
Yep.
live on the front end and help you modify and do whatever you want on the front end. And you want to bring that same modular architecture to the back end so
Yep.
people can do whatever they want with
Yeah.
the back
Yep.
end
Do
from a
whatever
plugin
they want to do.
standpoint. Can you give an example of a plugin that you so front end plugin chat interface,
Yep.
back end plugin what?
Okay. Well, we'll use what I've designed here right now, the CAG system. Currently, what all it does is I'm going to hand it a text document. It is going to segment it apart and it is going to put it into the AI. That's it.
Okay, so
Nothing.
this is a document upload basically.
Yes, exactly. What we
Is
talked
it
about.
working?
Yes. we'll get to that demo in a moment. Calm
That's
down.
awesome. I love, with most developers that I work with, they tell me all this stuff's coming and it never comes. With Dave, he shows up to the call with stuff I've never seen before that's working, which I love.
But this is a good example of what we're talking about with the module aspect we want to introduce to the back end. Because right now, all I do and I have it segmenting is basically chopping it up in little pieces based on the size of the documentation so it can fit within the context window. It doesn't get any fancier than that. There's no worried about chunking, no metadata, nothing at all like that, which would you'd find in a lot of CAGs. This allows, that's why I did it like this, because if somebody wants to come behind me or even me later on, I want that to be so modular that you basically would just come into the plugin system and you'd be able to upload a new CAG and it'll simply fall right into place. You don't have to do anything else. It's just there and it works. And that way people can expand the functionality, both the front end and the back end, however they see fit.
Amazing. So this is like, in addition to being a first step on document, chat with your documents.
Mhm.
This is also a big step in terms of because the way that you've built this takes a first step towards
Yep.
modularizing the back end.
Yep. So very simply put, I just sit here and select it. I've been using the white paper. It's just it's 12K. So it's a pretty good size to deal with as far as for documents. And this deals solely with BrainDrive information, which I can guarantee no AI has. So it's really a good basis. But before I get there, I'm going to do one thing really quick. And this is so everybody can see the basis. What is BrainDrive? And I expect this answer to be dead wrong.
Uh,
Yep, as expected. I've gotten everything from note-taking apps to whatever when playing around when I was
right.
demoing it and to make sure that when it works. So while it's a pretty good information, it is just dead wrong. It
Yeah, I
just
mean, there's
made,
even pricing. Like we
yep,
don't even have any. This is all MIT licensed, so this is not accurate.
yep. But it was just my demonstration of what it would look like if you put in the questions so that when we do the next thing, which I'm going to go and start a new conversation, I'm going to upload my document.
And this is a white paper that we wrote, just sort of giving the full picture and vision of BrainDrive. It's on the community forums
Yep.
for anybody who's interested.
I get two different operations that I want to do. A one shot is just basically going to be solid memory. It is not going to save in any database whatsoever, no context. And then save it into context just saves it as part of the conversation, but it's at least in the database. And it's just whatever you want to do. I wasn't trying to make up anybody's decision as they're moving along. So we're going to go ahead and save it as just a one shot. And just like that, it's done.
Oh, that fast?
Yes. Like I said, this I went for just bare metal. I wasn't trying to be fancy. It's done.
Amazing.
So now when I ask it, brain, as I learn to type,
Drum roll.
yep, boom.
User owned open source. Okay. Oh, this is awesome. Yeah, I mean, this is all very accurate.
Yep, like I say, it goes by the paper. It uses the whatever model you pick from. I don't have any personas on this one. If you did have a persona, it will follow the persona that's there for this. The reason I'm saying this, we had issues with that 2 weeks ago. That's all cleaned up now. So if you just want to, let's say,
Wow, Dave,
oh
you were cooking this weekend, huh?
yeah,
We haven't even gotten to the big thing that you worked on last week.
no, no. And this was pretty fun. Like, this was pretty quick. I had an idea what I wanted to do in my head, and I was like, that's crazy because it was like I said, I'd be opening up the whole back end for more than I was really to tackle. So I was like, let's dial back to MVP land and let's figure out for functionality. So to demonstrate upload documents, you can chat with it, you can have a quick conversation, not take up a bunch of resources, and really just move along. You can upload multiple documents if you want, but otherwise it's pretty effective. And I'm pretty happy with the results. Here
This
goes
is
your
awesome,
roadmap.
Dave. I mean, oh wow. I mean, really good.
I will warn everybody, of course, with AIs, it can hallucinate. We do have our information down here. It does make mistakes. I did in one of my tests, it was using what I would call Google app and Apple Store information as like the 70% of how much they take out. We aren't even
Yeah, and I
assuming.
mean, this is again, I think it's important. We're really excited about this, but this is like a step in, it's we're in
Yep.
beta here, and this is the first, preview of this.
Yeah.
And we're going to iterate really fast,
Yep.
and,
Yeah.
and we're going to, I think one of the things about having an open source system is the community can come in, hey, I don't like the way you guys did this. I'm going to do it like this. Look at the results that I'm getting. Your thing hallucinated, mine didn't. This type of documents, this works really well. This type of document, a legal contract, it doesn't work. Here's something I changed to make it work really well, all that type of stuff. This is meant to be a foundation to build on.
Yeah. Because part of the problem I know was the fact that the temperature was sitting at 70%. So, at 0.70, so not
Yep.
70%. Um, so that was already pushing it into la la land in itself. So it was like, but my thing was I wanted to make sure that it was pulling the bulk of the information from the document, and then it's like whatever it was doing beyond that, it was. I was just like I said, my goal was the document itself, get it up and running, and I was pretty happy with.
And this is like if I download Core and install it, it's there or no?
Yeah, yes, this has been
Oh,
all yeah, because this is part of the yeah. The core has its changes and the plugin has its changes.
oh, so this is a plugin.
Yep. Oh no, this is both because the backend took a little work. So there was a core element to it, and then the plugin had its work because, of
Which
course,
plugin? What's the name of the
this is
plugin?
this is BrainDrive Chat.
No, no. Oh, you're saying I understand. This has been added to the BrainDrive chat default plugin
Yep.
and also the core because they both work together
Yeah,
on this
yeah,
one.
yeah. Because we exposed the functionality into the back end of you're going to get a document, now work with it.
Amazing.
And then
Amazing.
you want to go to the big thing, or we can move to it.
Couple more small things. Not that
Um,
any of this was small. First off, this is really way beyond what I was expecting for this call, and we haven't even gotten to the big thing that Dave worked on last week. So great, great work. I mean, I think we're really, you especially are really, accelerating into launch here, which is what we were hoping for. And I think you've put a lot of work into building a solid, we took our time. You took your
yeah.
time to really think through, a system that it took us a lot longer to build than just throwing something out there, that's just a chat. But now that it took us a lot longer to get to AI chat polished than
Hmm.
other people, but the reason why is because you built a foundation that is now going to allow us to accelerate. And not, when I say us, I mean
Yep.
it in the larger sense, the open source AI community
Yep.
to accelerate and scale and build on top of this. So where other people, really kind of focus on it, and we love all the open source stuff, but they
Yep.
focus on let's just get a chat interface out there. We took a step back, and Dave really took some time to think through this architecture and getting it into place for other people to build on. This isn't designed to be our vision coming to life in terms of a system. Our vision is to help you realize your vision,
Yeah.
as a developer.
Yeah, because we almost not we almost because we didn't even but when we first decided we were going to do X, this started last Christmas, and I took 4 days and I built a chat interface, and just like everybody else does. And it's like instead of going, okay, we have a chat interface, let's keep pushing. We stopped. We came up with a plan. What does open source really need? What is so that we don't just become yet another chat interface, but rather an entire system where my dream doesn't become your dream. My dream is what I want to make it to do. I can create plugins. I can borrow somebody else's plugins. And then we get to the avatar chat there. That's when it really starts coming to, I call it fruition because of the fact that suddenly you can do things that you didn't even imagine possible. Dave, you're muted.
2 seconds because I want to just spend the rest of the call talking about the main event, which is what you're referring to. So I put together last week one small thing is the plugins now live in the community. We're eventually going to have an official marketplace, but for now, post if you build a plugin, post it here under the marketplace in the community forums. Right here, the BrainDrive Marketplace. The plugins that we've been talking about are listed here for people to download. And then what I spent most of my time doing last week is putting together a how to own your own AI system intro course. So this is 9 lessons. And it, goes through everything to basically take someone who has no technical experience and get them up and running with their own AI system using BrainDrive. And I also started playing with Nano Banana a little bit on the image creation. And, I think we can do a lot with that in terms of I haven't optimized it at all yet, but just the ability to add some imagery in here
Yep.
was cool with that. That'll help us scale. And lots of screenshots for the system. And, so this was it's a full course now. I'm going to start on video for this, but the text course is there for people that want to read it. And then Navaneeth is working on Y-Finder, which is going to be our first community-based plugin around a use case,
Yep.
which is going to help people find their why. This whole mini economy, I think flourishing, helping human flourishing, and making sure that AI works to the benefit of individuals is a big part of the theme of BrainDrive itself. And I think this first use case is a way to kind of set the foundation for every individual to make sure that they're really setting themselves up for success for the new AI economy. And with that, we'll head over to what Dave spent the most time on last week, and God knows how he had any time to do this other stuff. But
Okay, so first a little intro to this. We were working on RAG and we still are in that regard, but with that comes, I'll call it tech debt, and that's probably the only term that fits there. If you're expecting a non-technical user to use RAG with any proficiency, there are going to be some skid your knee moments. Even just trying to get it to work, never mind trying to get it to install, up and running with any type of level of competence. Because the minute you start saying several different databases, they'll be like, what? How do I do this? And that's where everybody loses right there. And then you have the whole built-in, because a lot of this has to be built into your system. And then, of course, you do not know what system it's going to be on, and that encompasses an entirely different tech debt. So my view that if you're a local user, you have a smaller computer, you generally do not know a ton about database working, RAG in itself, but you need something that's actually focused on giving you the answer versus trying to give you a day job of keeping your RAG up and running. So with that, I came up with this little system called the avatar system. And when Dave and I first started talking, he was one of the things he wanted knowledge bases, to be able to have a finite piece of information, or a group of documents. And I don't want to say trade it because that was my term, because I like to think about trading cards and stuff like that sometimes. But in his, be able to say, hey, I have this database built, or I have this knowledge base built, and my friend needs this, or I want to offer this to my users. How do you do that? Because the current thing is basically everything's tied into a RAG database. It has all the tech debt encompassed in that, and you would have to somehow get this from point A to point B. Now you can do migrations, but that, like I said, the tech debt of your wherever this is going to, you'll encounter those issues that come with that.
And our vision for this, sorry to interrupt, Dave, but our
Yeah,
vision for this is the new economy, right? This is the knowledge
yep,
economy and taking ownership and control over your knowledge in your own AI system, and then eventually being able to trade and monetize and all of that. This is the new economy, and that can be done by a big tech company where they receive all the benefit,
yep.
or it can be done in a decentralized way where we as the individuals that are actually creating this value receive the benefit. And so this is a huge first step in realizing towards realizing that vision.
Yeah. Now This is still a proof of concept. I warn everybody every time I warn Dave when he's seen an example of this working. I was like, I know the quality of the answers isn't there, but I wasn't working on that yet. To me, that's the easy part. Once I have the I'll call it the little highway of information built, which I do now. Now I can start spending some time and building avatars and how to make that easier for users. So it's just basically a screen, you put your documents in it, and it takes care of all the work for you, which is the next step. And it's why you don't see it on any list for a plugin right now. But enough of that. Let's go to what it actually is. And the first thing when we get to here, I want to demonstrate to everybody when I say you can build a plugin, you can take one of ours. You have the code available. It is MIT. It's open source on GitHub, and you can start from there. And that's basically what I did for demonstrating how Avatar works. Because when I first told this to Dave, Dave was like, because hey, this is a huge step away from what everybody else knows about how this works. So let's go. Right here would be simply the Avatar exists on an MCP server for testing, and this is where the information I have there. At its core, it's a little rag. And these are the amount of chunks. I do have the information for you. If a user got a hold of this right now, I try to follow so that when Dave starts playing with this, he's not like, I don't know what this means. So there's information there. It's helpful for him. He can get up and running. At its core, though, this is what Avatar is. It is the ability for me to take a avatar image. If I have one readily, I don't know if I do. We have here. There we go. I can drag it on here, except for it's not playing. Where are you? And of course, we're going to have difficulties, aren't we? Why are you not copying? There we go. And basically, it is a PNG with chunk information inside it, which PNGs can do. However, I have created a way for that chunk information to be a little bit more useful than just some text. This actually contains a small vector database, for lack of better words. It's using LifeGraph. It has pretty much every bell and whistle right now, and I call it overkill, even though it's not working how proficiently I wanted to do. I just want to see how big these things get. So I took all of Dave's documents that he has done for BrainDrive, put it in here, because this would allow for an easy help mechanic or anything of that nature. Actually, the sky is pretty much the limit on what you want to do with this. But once you put it in, all you have to do is hit here for the upload, and it'll please be working on me. Why are you not working? As it goes with all demos, doesn't it?
Yep.
I am not you. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna, who knows
I've
what it's
seen
doing.
this working,
Yeah.
so it does work.
He's seen
It's
this
just
work. It's,
and it is this is pre-beta, right?
yeah. Yeah. Like I said, this is why it's not even touching air right now. It's like when Friday, yeah, Friday evening, it was about 5 o'clock. Dave's going out to dinner with his family, and I'm calling him. And I was like, "Hey, you want to get on a computer? Because I have this all working." So he did get to see this working. I'm trying to figure out why it's not because.
But basically the idea here while you're
Yep,
looking around there, Dave, is you know, it's one thing to have a RAG database, right? It's
yep,
another thing to be able to modularize the knowledge base like we're modularizing BrainDrive.
yep,
And, I can have my BrainDrive, information, all the documents about BrainDrive. I can have all my health information. I can have my, skills and abilities, if I'm a real estate agent, all my, negotiation tactics, et cetera.
yep,
Instead of, you can still have all those in one place, but you can also break them out and make them easily tradable
yep,
and usable in different pages on BrainDrive, et cetera.
yep,
And for the average, if you're a developer and you're listening to this, it's kind of like, why don't I just use it? But like for the average person, like a RAG database, just the concept of it. But an image that's like, hey, create that, take all your data, upload it to this image, and then anywhere you take that image, you're going to be able to
yep.
access that knowledge and ground your chats in it. I think people get that. So from a UX standpoint, I think this is really interesting to make this easy for people. And then it also is the first step. There's a lot more steps that
Yeah.
need to happen, but the first step into building that decentralized knowledge economy around all of the knowledge. Because that's, if you think about it, that's how we make our money right now.
Yep.
A lot of people, even skilled trades, it's the knowledge that you have. Being able to build up these knowledge bases and you be the one that benefits from that instead of some big tech company is a huge deal.
Yeah, because that's going to be, it's like, imagine you can go to, you've seen WordPress's, little marketplace that they have, or we've actually talked about how we're going to do plugins. Knowledge is the same thing, because right now, the only people who have the knowledge is basically Google, you have Claude, and you have OpenAI. And they have little agents running around scurrying and basically gobbling up the entire internet, and then training models. However, as everybody knows with hallucinations, that is not finite or even perfect, even close. When you can actually have your information right there present and focused, because like in your brain drive, we only have the white paper and the asunder. I think I have 8 documents that Dave has been using for his RAG test. And I was like, that's a perfect place to test for this. And so when you actually have a conversation with this, it is actually conversing with the data that's in there first. It provides it as context, hands it to the AI and says, hey, I need a response for this, that goes with this based on the persona that you have introduced. And that's another key part is you can have whatever flavor you want. If you want to, like I showed Dave in the demo, I had one AI that basically gave you the answer, or one persona that gave you the answer, and then a little tip at the other one. And then the other one was a Grumpus Prime, which hated serving humans. So he always gave you this little short answer. And it was like something condescending usually. But it's like that, so I can demonstrate that the personality is being applied, it's getting the information it wants. So for me, and my example that I gave to Dave a long time ago is you get into sports and there's a large population that are into sports, whether it's soccer, football, baseball, basketball, and you have a team that you love, you could have all their information in one of these. And so that anytime you want to fact-base something dealing with your team, you load your avatar up and you don't have to worry about whether the AI was trained on it or not, because now that information is front and center. So you could even go so far as, let's say you had 2 teams playing against each other. You could put one here, you could put the other one here, and you could ask it to do comparisons based on stats on which one you think would win on this Saturday. It's like the sky's the limit what you can start to do with this persona system. And Dave and I avoid this, but don't get me started on what you can do with role playing with these things, because it's already set up in the code where it can store the conversations that you have in the proof of concept CLI version, so that as you have a conversation, you can actually say, tell it whatever you have a conversation with, it'll store the data in the avatar. So as you take it with you, that conversation comes with you again. And then the final piece of it is that you can go in and edit the information inside it once it's stored. So we'll have an interface that allows you to take a look at the information bytes. And if you see something you don't like, you can cut it out, you can alter it, you can add new to it. So it's not something that's stuck in concrete anymore, but rather it becomes a living, breathing information source that you can do whatever you want with it.
Another
So,
thing I've been thinking about is like health, right? So
yep,
you have like a doctor card, right? And then you have all your health information. You put the doctor in, you put your health information in, start asking for medical advice, blah blah blah. Obviously at your own risk,
yep.
with AI right now, it's all experimental, etc. But there's just a million different use cases for this. And the fact that it's now so easy or will be so easy to trade this, I think is a huge, huge deal. And everybody gets trading cards. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Whether
yep.
you're
That's why.
into it
That's
or
why it
not.
fits to me, the trading card analogy, and that's why it's like having multiple cards that were available. Right now, I have 3. I'm forcing it to one. I had a bug initially where I was using some of my test cards. So, like I told Dave, I already know the code works. Where if you had multiple cards, it will combine it, and that's when it's like if you were running a small business and there were these image or knowledge bases or avatar images for board members. you could suddenly have a marketing expert. You could suddenly have, an entrepreneur or a
Tailored
motivational
completely
speaker.
to your business because you could have like all your business context there, and then you could have the marketing expert and
Yep.
the finance expert and blah blah blah.
Yeah, you have an
Sky's
AI,
the
you're
limit
just
here.
exactly. And that was that's the concept now starting to bear some fruit and tasting a little reality, and we're starting to see what can be capable of it. And as Dave tested, I can code pretty fast, so it will not be long before this starts to see some daylight. I just clearly have some more testing to do, especially on the we have to do plugins for building, plugins for the editing portions of it like that. But it's pretty close, given the fact that as a demonstration, oh, you can't see my screen, but Avatar, I think I started on Wednesday as far as building a plugin for it. And I spent Wednesday doing the MCP side, and then Thursday and Friday was the plugin side. So that's how quickly people can come up with plugins as far as once you have an idea, just go.
I love it. This is amazing. All right, so for the coming week, on my side, I want to get this out to the contest that we're going to be entering in the local LLM Reddit forum.
Yep.
They're doing a 30-day innovation contest that we're going to submit to, and making sure that we're on top of all of that. I'm going to work on polishing up. Like, I need to go back to a lot of the stuff that I wrote, like when we started this,
Yeah.
and make sure it's all accurate and up to date, and add screenshots and et cetera, et cetera. And if I have additional time, I want to start working on some video. And on your end, Dave?
Mac installer. I am going to become fluent in Mac, whether it breaks me or not. I'm not a Mac user, just so everybody knows. Um, However, we do have installers. We have the installer for Windows working. The Mac version, it works in a dev environment. I'm just not fluent enough in a Mac to make it work for a user. So that's the part I'm going to become very fluent with. And because our goal is for a non-tech debt solution for local AIs, basically. So having an installer that works and that can manage your entire brain drive for you is the ideal solution. And we're doing more than just brain drive. We want the installers to work for our users as well.
All right. And I have a feeling we're going to make some more progress on Avatar, whether we like it or not at this.
Yeah, yeah, well, we have to. It's like, the cat's out of the bag now. I'd really like to make some more, from progress because maybe next Monday I have a working demo. I was putting a lot. It was like this weekend, my focus was on the upload document, so I really didn't push on Avatar. It was like Avatar. Okay, the test is done. I have some adult work to do, basically, make sure that BrainDrive chat did what we wanted and clean up all the GitHubs because I had I had branches all over the place. I even my wife, I was laughing. I was like, I should have did this yesterday because this morning I had a moment of chaos.
All good. So much accomplished last week, and then for Navaneeth, I have a call scheduled with him tomorrow. He said he's ready to show Y-Finder, so
Boom.
that'll be cool. That'll be our first use case plugin that's very very focused. So we're
And
firing
we
on
and
all
for me,
cylinders.
yeah, for me, Navaneeth is like that. He hasn't done a plugin before. He works with us, just so everybody knows, but he's never been into BrainDrive. So this was his first. I'm going to do a BrainDrive plugin. So he did rock paper scissors, so he was there very easily. For me, that's a success right there because it's a little test of, hey, are we building something that developers can get their hands on? Can they readily build on? And then he's taken that now to a use case of, hey, I got to do something other than play a game.
Amazing. All right. Unless there's anything else from your side, I think that was a lot.
Yep, I'm done talking for a while.
All good. So, like I said at the beginning of the call, our mission here at BrainDrive is to build a superior user-owned alternative to big tech AI systems. We do these calls every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, live streamed on YouTube. So, we'd love it if you join us there. We also post the recordings of these calls in the afternoon on community.braindrive.ai, our community. So, either place, welcome any and everywhere to join the conversation, share ideas and start working on the future of user-owned AI together. And with that, we'll see you next week.